Students, in this chapter, we are going to study about the trends in computing and ethical issues.
First, we are going to see what is called ethics. The term ethics refers to the set of moral principles that one should abide by. Ethical issues may be written usually as fundamental rights as specified by our constitution or unwritten usually as moral values introduced by parents and schools and in later stage the society at large. Today we exist Today we exist as a society because of our ability to induce ethics into our society and our efforts to follow a value based system. These ethics get imprinted within our society and therefore help us to grow. So, computer ethics is a part of practical philosophy concerned with how computing professionals should make decisions regarding professional and social conduct. So, ethical issues to computing. The intuition of information technology has penetrated into our society to such an extent that we have started living with technology. Be it the kitchen or some game fields, just think of anything and you will find some use of information technology. But with very good thing, there are ethical issues which need to be addressed. Okay, here are some ethical issues related to computing. First one is computers in workspace. Even after several years of computing, some people still believe that computers can pose a threat to jobs as people feel they may be replaced by them. However, the computer industry already has generated a wide variety of new jobs. Usually, computers do not eliminate a job, but they can radically alter it. In addition to next one is intellectual property rights. So, intellectual property rights is one of the most controversial area of computer as far as software ownership is concerned. There are people such as Richard Stallman who started the Free Software Foundation who believe that software ownership should not be allowed at all. According to him, all information should be free and all programs should be available for copying, studying and modifying by anyone who wishes to do.
While there are others who believe that software companies or programs would not invest weeks and months of works and significant funds in the development of software if they could not get the profit in terms of license fees or sales. Thus, intellectual property rights may be defined as the rights given to the people over the creations of their intellect or minds. These rights give an exclusive right to the creator over use of his or her creation for a certain period of time. With the advent of information technology, it is very easy to copy materials and recreate it, claiming to be one's own creation, leading to fraudulence. So, intellectual property rights prevent this from happening. The intellectual property rights are categorized into two different segments. So, intellectual property rights refers to the assignment of property rights mm, uh, through patents, copyrights, and trademarks. First one, copyright and right related to copyright. These are rights given to authors of literary and architects work such as books and other writings, musical compositions, paintings, sculpture, computer programs and films. Their works or creations are protected by copyright for at least a period of 50 years after the death of the author. This gives the authors an exclusive right to their creations and do not allow any of the works to be copied in any form without their permission. Thus, the major social purpose of protection of copyright and later rights is encourage and reward creative work. Then, right to privacy. Literally, the term right to privacy refers to the freedom from intrusion by the public, especially as a right. The ease and efficiency with which computers and networks can be used to gather, store, search, compare, retrieve, and share in personal information make computers technology especially threatening to anyone who wishes to keep personal information out of public domain or out of the hands of those who are perceived as potential threats. The next one is spam. Spam refers to the irrelevant or unsocialized messages sent over the internet, typically to a large number of users for the purpose of advertising, phishing, and spreading malware, etc. Sometimes or the other, you must have to see in your email inbox unwanted mails with some compelling messages to make you open the mail. These mails are usually sent in bulk that flood the internet. They are an attempt to force the message on people who otherwise bypass such mails as useless. Such undesirable messages are usually a waste of valuable time to the user and also occupy a huge amount of space. Spamming refers to the use of electronic messaging system to send unblocked, unwanted block messages, that is spam, especially advertising discriminately. The most widely recognized form of spam is email, that is electronic mail spam. However, the term is also applied to similar abuses in other media. Instant messaging spam, Usenet news group spam, web search engine spam, spam in blogs, wiki spam, online classified ad spam, mobile phone messaging spam, internet forum spam, junk fax transmission, social networking spam, social spam, television advertising and files sharing spam. The next one is software piracy. Software piracy refers to unauthorized copying of software. Most retail programs are licensed in such a way that it may be used at just one computer or for use of only by one user at any time. Whenever you buy a software, you become a licensed user rather than an owner, and therefore you are only allowed to make copies of the program for backup purposes but cannot give copies to your friends and colleagues, which is against the law. So software piracy refers to the illegal copying, distribution or use of software. Okay. The next one is ways to stop software piracy. How to stop the software piracy? While it is impossible to stop software piracy, but as far as you are concerned, ethics should come in. You are now well aware that it is an infringement of intellectual property right. You, being an ethical user of technology, should make practices that avoid software piracy and educate others about it. Some of the steps that you should take avoid software piracy are always buy legal software from reputed retailers or organizations. When you are in doubt, you may contact the help desk of the software publisher. Okay. Second point, original software usually comes in an original disk, legal agreement and authentic packaging. You can opt for free or open source software that are free. If you have a crunch in your budget, so certain open source software are even better than their commercial counterparts. The last one is avoid cracks and serial number generators, as it is mostly responsible for installing malicious software in your computer. The next one is cybercrime. Cybercrime is a term which is used to refer to the criminal activity performed using computers and the internet. This may include instigating and intimidating someone over the internet, downloading illegal files, and stealing millions of dollars from online bank accounts. Other offenses such as creating and distributing viruses and malicious codes and other computers, or posting confidential business information on the internet are also the part of cybercrime. So now we are going to see the type of cybercrime. Though there are thousands of methods that can be utilized to commit cybercrime, it can be still be categorized broadly under the following heads. First one is financial, then next one is piracy, then another one is hacking. Financial, these are crimes which disturb the normal activities of businesses. The next one is piracy. It refers to the act of copying copyrighted materials. Okay. With the advent of technology, copying materials has been a cakewalk. Moreover, the advent of computers involves the use of the internet to market or distribute creative work protected by copyright. The next one is hacking. It refers to the technique used to gain unauthorized access to a computer system or network, and in some cases even making unauthorized use of this access. It challenges the utility of the mechanisms that are used to secure communication networks. People who try to hack into others' computer system are called hackers. It is believed that in most cases hacking activities are not backed by solid logical reasons but are usually computer brilliance by trying to penetrate through the security system of the computer. So hackers usually get pleasure out of flaunting their skills, but may also have an objective to tracing vital information and affecting computer system with viruses. So the next one is, how do you understand the system is attacked by some malicious codes? So following are some of the ways in which your computer system reacts to viruses. First one, the speed of your computer may go down to a considerable extent. Second one, certain software may require more time to start than it does usually. Third one, certain software may not start at all. Fourth one, some software may start normally but closes down abruptly. Then next point is, fifth point is the operating system may show corrupted files. Sixth point, there may be files whose icons may get changed. Seventh point, changes may even happen to the name, extension, date, time, etc. of a file. Eighth point, the amount of free space on the hard disk may get reduced considerably. Ninth point, your system may hang but not responsible to the keyboard or mouse abruptly. Then 10 point, your computer may never boot. So the next one is computer viruses. Virus stands for vital information resource under size. Computer viruses. So under size. So computer viruses, this is probably the most well-known security threat and one of the scariest. The term computer virus encompasses all sorts of malware, but it is technically defined as the self-replicating computer program that spread by inserting copies of itself into other executable code or documents. So the computer viruses can wreak havoc on your computer and that of other as it spread typically through email and shared attachments. Securing the computer system. So some points are there. Always use external media after scanning for viruses. Second point, files that are downloaded from the internet should be scanned before use. Then third point, booting your PC, personal computer with an unknown storage media is not desirable. Ensure that the CD, DVD or pen drive that you are using do not contain virus. Then antivirus software. Antivirus is a software that is used to remove viruses and malware programs from your computer. Okay, it uses two of these techniques to secure your computer. First one, scan files for known viruses that match with the virus definition list that is built within. But this requires you to continuously update your antivirus software to add new definition to the list. Otherwise, your antivirus software goes obsolete and will not be able to remove newer viruses. Third point, identify suspicious behavior of a computer program that may have been infected. Some commonly used antivirus systems are Quick Heal, McAfee, Norton Antivirus, Avast, Bitdefender, etc. Okay, each of the antiviruses, Kaspersky, etc. Each of the antiviruses bring out certain options that the user can use while the computer is being scanned for virus. For example, first one is Fix. It cleans the files that is infected with the virus. Then quarantine. Some viruses may be too difficult to remove completely, so it is disabled and kept in a safe place so that it cannot infect other files. Then next one is delete. That it deletes an infected file along with the virus, since the option also deletes the original file which got infected. It should only be used when the previous two options do not work. So students, now we are going to see the question answers of this part. First question is, what is computing ethics? Second question is, what is software piracy? How does software deal with software piracy? And third one, what do you think in developing countries like India it is difficult to stop software piracy? Next question is, what are the different ways of stopping software piracy? Fifth question is, how does spamming affect economically? Then sixth question, discuss in two main areas of industrial property. Next, seventh question, how can spamming can be reduced? Eighth question, how is phishing and performing perform cybercrime? Ninth question, what are the different types of cybercrime? And 10th question, how are hackers different from crackers? Okay, so students, this is the end of the last chapter.